The air in Willow Bend Estates crackled with tension the day I rolled into Grandpa's old place, my new home. I'm Ethan Cole, 32, a carpenter with calloused hands and a stubborn streak, hauling my life in a beat-up F-150 to this quiet cul-de-sac.
Welcome to Karen Chronicles. Before we begin, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue creating even better content. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started.
The house, a weathered ranch with a wraparound porch, stood like a time capsule, 1975 vibes in every creak. But the real treasure, Grandpa's brick driveway, red clay pavers laid by his hands that summer, each one a story of sweat, beers, and Dad's toddling steps. 40 years strong, it curved from the street to the garage, a masterpiece HOA tyrant Karen Voss couldn't stomach. I'd barely unpacked, boxes still stacked in the hall, when a neon yellow notice slapped my mailbox. Last Tuesday, HOA violation, driveway non-compliant, replaced with concrete or asphalt, $250 fine. My jaw dropped. Non-compliant. Grandpa built this beauty, mortared tight, level as a pool table, long before Willow Bend's HOA existed. I stormed to the curb, tracing the bricks, smooth, unbroken, a legacy under my boots. Karen, 54, perm stiff as her spine, strutted up Wednesday, clipboard in hand, her voice a nasal whip. "It's outdated, Ethan," she sneered, eyeing it like trash. "Bumps up maintenance, clashes with our look, modern's the rule." "Bullshit," I shot back, arms crossed, towering over her petite frame. "It's legal, grandfathered in. County records prove it." Her smirk twitched, eyes glinting malice. "HOA trumps sentiment, newbie. Concrete or asphalt, your choice, or we force it." Force it? My blood boiled. This wasn't a driveway. It was Grandpa's soul, the man who'd taught me a hammer's. Wait, gone 5 years now. I'd moved here to keep it alive, not let some perm-waving dictator pave it over for her standards. Thursday she doubled down, a megaphone moment at the HOA office. I crashed. "Willow Bend's aesthetic demands unity," she crowed to her clique, Sylvia Bob nodding drones. "Cole's relic's a hazard, votes next week, demolition if he balks." Hazard? That driveway held Dad's first bike crash, my prom photos, flawless, not a crack. She wasn't fixing, she was flexing, her power a claw itching to crush what I loved. I roared, "You've got no right!" But her gavel banged, her posse's hands up, 10-3, my fate ticking. Friday, her smirk lingered as I paced those bricks. Karen's threat wasn't a fine, it was war, a bulldozer aimed at my roots. She thought I'd cave, thought Willow Bend hers to mold. Wrong. I'd fight. Grandpa's legacy, my home hung on it. But how? Time ran short, her vote loomed. Could I stop her before the bricks broke? Karen Voss's threat to bulldoze Grandpa's brick driveway lit a fire in me, Ethan Cole, that wouldn't quit. Her modern standards excuse stank. Willow Bend Estates wasn't her canvas. It was her cash cow, and I'd prove it. Friday night, after her vote loomed like a guillotine, I turned hunter, phone in hand, shadows my cloak. I tailed her, a carpenter stalking a queen, through Oakwood's quiet lanes, her perm a beacon under streetlights. What I found wasn't just power tripping, it was a racket, and my bricks were her latest heist. Saturday I camped near her cul-de-sac perch, coffee cold, camera rolling. She strutted past Mr. Lee's peeling fence, 3 feet high, a clear violation, snapped a pic, then waved it off with a grin. "Bob's fine," she muttered to Sylvia, her VP lapdog, clipboard untouched. Bob, her golf buddy, immune while my bricks faced the axe. Sunday, Mrs. Harper's unapproved red door, same shade since '98, got a $200 fine, her walker tapping as Karen sneered, "Pay or paint?" Selective? Hell yes. Her friends skated, her foes bled. Monday, I dug deeper, followed her, to a board meeting at Pinewood's Edge, a diner booth reeking of grease and secrets. Her husband, Greg Voss, bald, smug, Voss Construction embroidered on his polo, slid her a folder. I zoomed my lens through the window. Contracts, every driveway, patio, roof in Willow Bend. His bids double market rate. $50K for the coal. "Oh, job," he bragged, her perm nodding. "Concrete's cheap, profit's sweet." My blood iced. Grandpa's bricks weren't outdated. They were a payday, her HOA a funnel to his wallet. I hit record, their cackle a noose tightening. Tuesday, the gut punch landed. Old Mrs. Jenkins, 82 widow, shuffled to my porch, tears streaking her lined face. "Karen bankrupted." "Me?" she rasped, clutching a sale notice. $1,500 in fines, blue door, wrong hue. Sold my home last month, couldn't fight. My jaw clenched. Mrs. Harper, Mr. Torres, whispers of others crushed by her fines, her standards, a whip driving them out. I scrolled Mr. Lee's HOA chat, posts buried, $800 for my shed, $300 for my flag, families buckling, her clique untouched. She wasn't enforcing rules, she was harvesting ruin, profit her prize. Karen's game wasn't petty, it was predation, my driveway, her next scalp. Friends spared, foes fleeced, Greg's overpriced cement her gold mine, Mrs. Jenkins' tears, my bricks, all collateral. I gripped my phone, videos, audio, proof, rage simmering. She thought me a pushover, thought Willow Bend hers to milk. Wrong. I'd expose her, but her bulldozers rolled Sunday. Could I strike before Grandpa's legacy turned to dust? Karen Voss's greedy claws were inches from Grandpa's brick driveway, but I, Ethan Cole, wasn't folding. Not after tailing her, filming her scams, hearing Mrs. Jenkins's sobs. By Wednesday, my phone burned with proof. Videos of her sparing. Bob's fence, Greg's overpriced contracts, her sneers at the find. It wasn't enough to fume. I needed a sledgehammer, not a wrench. That night I called Dad, Frank Cole, 61, CEO of Cole Construction, the firm overseeing Willow Bend's builds. "She's robbing us blind," I growled, spilling it. All Karen's fines, her husband's racket, Jenkins' bankruptcy. His voice hardened over the line. "Stay put, son, I'm cracking this open." Thursday, Dad unleashed hell. "Internal audit now," he ordered his team. A grizzled crew of accountants and lawyers who'd built half the state. By noon, they'd raided Cole Construction's files, contracts, invoices, HOA bids, unearthing Greg Voss's fingerprints. $200,000 in padded deals over 3 years, double market rates, funneled through Karen's approved votes. Emails surfaced. Her to Greg, "Push Cole's bricks, big payout." Bank logs showed $30,000 of HOA dues siphoned to their joint account. Fines from me, Jenkins, Harper, funding their lake cabin deck. "Fraud," Dad snapped, voice like steel. "She's done." Friday, I forced the reckoning. An emergency. HOA meeting, flyers stuffed in every mailbox, 7 p.m., expose the truth. Karen strutted in, perm high, clipboard clutched, smirking at the packed room. 60 neighbors, eyes blazing. "What's this nonsense?" she barked, but I stepped up, phone synced to a projector, Dad's audit blazing on screen. "This," I said, voice steady, "is your scam." Greg's bids flashed, $50,000 for my driveway, $20,000 market rate, her center a lie. "You find us to fill your pockets," I roared, playing her push Cole clip, her cackle echoing. The room erupted. Mrs. Jenkins, trembling, stood first. "You took my home, want a $500 for a blue door." Tears streaked as she waved her sale notice. Mr. Lee leapt up. $800 for my shed, my kids broke. Mrs. Harper, cane thumping, rasped, $200 for my door. She called me trash. One by one they rose, Torres, Kim, voices cracking, fines piling, flags, trees, swings, hundreds, thousands, a chorus of ruin. Karen's smirk faded, her perm wilting as Sylvia shrank beside her. "Lies!" she shrieked, but my footage, her skipping bob, Greg's grin, silenced her. A noose of truth tightening. Dad's audit, $30,000 stolen, hit like a bomb. Neighbors gasping, shouting, thief. Karen's reign teetered. Her vote for my brick Sunday, her bulldozers prepped. I'd cracked her open, but she'd fight dirty. Could we topple her before the claw dropped? Willow Bend wasn't hers anymore. It was ours, and we'd bury her with it. Karen Voss's empire was crumbling after Friday's HOA meeting. My evidence, Dad's audit, Willow Bend's fury had her cornered, but she wasn't done clawing. Saturday night, I, Ethan Cole, crashed hard, exhausted from exposing her $30,000. Grift, Greg's padded contracts, her reign of ruin. Grandpa's brick driveway stood defiant under moonlight, a relic I'd sworn to save. At 1 a.m., my phone buzzed. Mrs. Harper, voice trembling. Ethan, they're here. Trucks, men at your place. My gut dropped. I bolted to the window, heart slamming as shadows moved. A crew, hoods up, tools glinting, creeping toward my drive. I hit the security app. Cameras Dad installed last year whirring to life. There she was, Karen, perm glowing. Under a street lamp, Greg hulking beside her, whispering to three roughnecks lugging crowbars and a jackhammer. "Rip it up, now!" she hissed, her voice a venomous snarl on my feed. "Cole thinks he's won. Show him." Greg nodded. "Quick, before dawn." My blood boiled. She wasn't just fighting. She was sabotaging a midnight raid to bury my bricks, my proof, my stand. I dialed 911, intruders 142 Willow, breaking my driveway, send help, then grabbed my flashlight, storming out. The jackhammer roared, bricks cracking, dust flying, each blow a gut punch to Grandpa's legacy. "Stop!" I bellowed. Been blinding them, phone live streaming to the neighborhood chat, 50 viewers, then 200 pinging awake. Karen spun, eyes wild. "You're done, Cole!" Greg lunged, crowbar raised. "Back off!" But I dodged, camera steady, their faces clear. Karen, Greg, the hired thugs, caught red-handed. "This is felony vandalism!" I roared. "Neighbors!" Spilling out, Mr. Lee filming, Mrs. Jenkins shouting, "Thieves!" The crew froze, jackhammers stalling as sirens wailed, red and blue flashing down Elm Lane. Cops swarmed, 2 squad cars, 4 officers, guns drawn. "Drop it!" Greg's crowbar clattered, Karen's perm quivering as she shrieked, "It's HOA land! I'm in charge!" An officer, Sergeant Davis, grizzled, no nonsense, snorted, "Lady, you're trespassing!" I shoved my phone at him, live feed rolling, Karen's rip it echoing, bricks splintered under her glare. "Evidence," I said, chest heaving. "She's fried." Davis watched, jaw tight, then cuffed her. "You're under arrest. Vandalism. Conspiracy." Greg followed, snarling, hands zip-tied, the crew scattering but nabbed by the second car. Willow Bend lit up, chat at 1,000 views. "She's toast." Trending, my cameras sealing her doom. Karen's payback flopped, her midnight wreckers caught, her lies bare. Grandpa's driveway, cracked but standing, screamed defiance. I'd saved it barely. Cops hauled her off, but her venom lingered. Could she still slither free? Oakwood watched, phones glowing, waiting for her fall to stick. Karen Voss's midnight raid caught on my cameras, her perm-framed face snarling as she smashed Grandpa's brick driveway, landed her in cuffs, but she wasn't buried yet. By Monday, she'd bailed out, swaggering back to Willow Bend Estates, clipboard clutched, still spitting venom. "You'll lose, Cole," she'd hissed through her lawyer's call, banking on her HOA throne to shield her. She didn't see the storm I'd brewed. Me, Ethan Cole, wasn't alone anymore. Dad, Frank Cole, CEO of Cole Construction, had her number, and Tuesday's HOA meeting was her execution. The community room buzzed, 60 neighbors packed in, chairs scraping, air thick with rage after Karen's bulldozer stunt. She strutted to the podium, perm high, Sylvia trailing like a whipped pup, ready to ram through her emergency fines. I stood at the back, phone still hot from live streams, 50,000 views now, when the door swung wide. Dad marched in, 6'2", silver hair, suit sharp as his glare. CEO gravitas silencing the hum, Karen's smirk froze. Frank Cole, he boomed, voice gravelly with decades of command. CEO of Cole Construction, your preferred builder. Sit down, Karen. He didn't wait, strode to the front, my footage cued on a projector. This, he said, clicking play. Karen's rip it. Midnight snarl, Greg's crowbar swing, bricks splintering. Gasps rippling as neighbors gaped. She's rigged your HOA, $200,000 in padded contracts to Voss Construction, her husband's outfit. Double market rates, your dues. My audits prove it. Sylvia shrank, Karen's jaw dropped, but Dad kept swinging. Effective now. Cole cuts all ties. Your deals are dead. No concrete, no asphalt, nothing. The room erupted. Mrs. Jenkins leapt up, Walker banging. She bankrupted me. $1,500 for my door. Mr. Lee roared. $800 for my shed, her lake house deck. Mrs. Harper, voice quaking. $200 for paint. She's a thief. Karen flailed. Lies, I'm in charge. But Dad's glare pinned her. Not anymore. Fraud, vandalism. Cops have it. Feds next. I stepped up, fist high. Vote, dissolve this HOA now. Hands shot up, 58-2, her click crumbling. Sylvia's eye, a whimper. Done, I said. Gavel mine now. Karen's reign ash. Wednesday we rebuilt. Me, Mrs. Lopez, Mr. Chen voted in. Fair rules scrawled. No fines for bricks, dues for parks. Karen's system, her puppet board, her grift, turned on her. Her own game, her noose. She'd manipulated HOA power, but Dad's clout, our fury, flipped it. Willow Bend was ours. Cops circled her lake house, feds looming. She'd rigged her fall, and we'd pulled the lever. Grandpa's driveway stood, cracked but proud. Could her ruin stick, or would she claw back? Karen Voss's throne was ash after Tuesday's HOA upheaval. Her board dissolved. Dad's CEO clout severing her grift. Willow Bend Estates ours again. By Wednesday she'd slunk off, perm drooping. Her lake house a seized shell under federal. Watch. I, Ethan Cole, thought we'd won. Grandpa's brick driveway, cracked but standing, a testament to our fight. But Karen wasn't done. Her venom festered, and Thursday night she struck one last desperate blow. A cornered snake bearing fangs she couldn't hide. At 2 a.m., my phone pinged. Security app alive. Cameras whirring. I bolted upright, heart slamming. There she was. A shadow on my feed. Karen, hooded, creeping down Elm Lane, a canister in hand. Her perm peeked out, her scowl glinting as she knelt by Grandpa's bricks, pouring. Hiss, steam, a chemical stench wafting as pavers bubbled, melted. You won't win, she muttered, caught on mic, splashing acid like a witch's brew, her payback to torch my stand. I hit record, live streamed to the chat, 200 viewers spiking. Then dialed 911. She's destroying my drive, 142 Willow, now. Cops roared in, sirens slicing the night. Sergeant Davis, same grizzled vet from her last bust, leaping from his. Cruiser, drop it, he barked, flashlight blinding her as she froze. Canister clattering, hands up, perm a mess. Vandalism again. Felony property damage, he growled, cuffs snapping, her wrists. Greg's shadow lurking nearby, nabbed too as he tried to bolt. My camera's 4 angles caught it all. Her paw, her snarl, the melt, irrefutable, her doom sealed in high def. You're cooked, I said, voice steady. Neighbors spilling out, Mrs. Jenkins gasping, Mr. Lee filming, chat hitting 5,000. She's insane! Jail her! Friday, the feds pounced. Karen's acid stunt a flare for their probe. Financial. You fraud, $300,000, Agent Ruiz said, raiding Greg's Voss Construction. Contracts bloated, kickbacks traced, years of HOA dues siphoned to their cabin, their boat. Greg cracked, she pushed me. But logs showed his bids, his cash, a decade of grift unraveling. Karen's cuffs tightened, vandalism, fraud, conspiracy, her lake house, her smugness, gone, her perm wilting in a cell. Willow Bend exhaled. Cameras. Off bricks scarred but ours. Mrs. Harper baked, Mr. Chen grinned. Karen's last lash backfired, her ruin absolute. Greg's firm folded, feds clawing back every cent, her legacy a warning in Oakwood's law. She'd schemed, struck, scorched. But we'd stood, my live stream her noose. Grandpa's drive held, a battered badge. Could her fall spark more than Pinewood's peace? Karen Voss's acid-soaked midnight meltdown was her last gasp. By Friday, cuffs clinked, her perm wilted, and Willowbend Estates shed her shadow for good. I, Ethan Cole, stood on Grandpa's scarred brick driveway. Pavers melted in patches but defiant. As feds hauled her off, Greg trailing in disgrace. Oakwood buzzed with relief, but we didn't just cheer her fall, we rebuilt. Saturday, 60 of us crammed the community room. Mrs. Jenkins, Mr. Lee, Mrs. Harper, eyes bright, fists high. New HOA, now, I said, voice steady, and the vote. Roared 59-0. Karen's reign erased, a fresh slate born. The new board, me, Mrs. Lopez, Mr. Chen, took shape by Sunday, our charter simple. Serve, don't squeeze, no fines for paint or sheds. Dues fixed potholes, funded a gazebo, not Greg's. Scams. Grandpa's driveway stayed, cracked but proud. I patched it myself, hands tracing his mortar, a carpenter guarding a legacy. Monday, Mr. Lee rolled up, clay pavers stacked in his truck. Solidarity, he grinned, laying his own brick drive. Red, tight, a twin to mine. Mrs. Harper followed, then Mrs. Jenkins. By week's end, 10 homes gleamed with brick. Willowbend's spine stiffening, our unity a quiet roar against Karen's ghost. She didn't fade easy. Tuesday, a for sale sign stabbed her lawn, her lake house seized, her boat towed, feds clawed back $300,000, her grift a bonfire funding her exit. By Friday, movers hauled her out, perm gone, eyes down. Oakwood, waving her off with pie and relief. Good riddance, Mrs. Lopez said, her maple unshamed. But Karen's fall wasn't just ours. My live stream, 2 million views, hit CNN. HOA tyrant toppled, community rises. Her story, greed, acid, cuffs, spread. A textbook takedown of HOA rot. Pinewood's fight a flare for blocks nationwide. Willow Bend bloomed. New bricks lined Elm Lane, a nod to Grandpa's hands. Mrs. Jenkins baked, her door blue and bold. Mr. Chen's shed stood, his kid grinning. Saturday we broke ground. Dues bought swings, not scams. Neighbors toasting, to Ethan. I shrugged. To us. Karen's ruin, jailed, broke, left a mark. But our rise left more. A board. For the people, a street stitched tight. Her lake house cash, seized, fixed Mrs. Harper's roof, a karmic twist. She'd schemed to crush us, fines, bulldozers, acid. But we'd stood, my bricks her breaking point. Karen fled, a cautionary tale. HOAs shivered, Oakwood soared. Grandpa's drive wasn't just mine, it was Willow Bend's, a legacy of fight, not fall. Could one man's stand, one block's grit, reshape more than Pinewood? The brick said yes, solid, shared, a story echoing far beyond her dust. Ethan Cole's war with Karen Voss over Grandpa's brick driveway in Willowbend Estates offers a tapestry of wisdom for those of us savoring life's later chapters. For older souls, it whispers a truth etched in our weathered hands. Greed crumbles when met with unwavering resolve. Karen fined, schemed and bulldozed. Betting age and habit would stifle Ethan's fight. We felt that pinch, overbearing rules, dismissive glances, assuming our years sap our strength. Yet Ethan stood, camera rolling, community rising, proof that silver hair crowns courage, not capitulation. When HOAs or life press, be it a fine for your roses or a nudge to fade, dig in. Our roots, deep as those bricks, hold firm if we guard them. A defiance time can't erode. Her downfall, acid, flung, cuffs snapped, teaches vigilance's quiet power. Karen's grift, $300,000 stolen, neighbors bankrupted, was a shadow we've glimpsed. Scams cloaked as standards, preying on trust. Age sharpens our squint, check the dues, question the rule, sniff the rot. Ethan's footage, Dad's audit, turned her system against her. We too can wield our tools, phones, pens, voices honed by decades, to shield what's ours. Our battles aren't loud but steady. File that grievance, rally that friend, because wisdom, not haste, topples tyrants. Willow Bend's rebirth. Bricks, multiplying, a fair HOA rising, shines a light on community's might. Karen's reign isolated, Ethan's fight united. We've known solitudes creep, knees ache, friends drift, yet Oakwood says, connect. Share coffee, lend a ladder, your porch, your grit, can knit a block tight. Karen's lake house fell, but Mrs. Jenkins' roof rose. Our dues, our care can lift where greed tears down. Age isn't retreat, it's a bridge linking hands to heal what's broken. Her son's shift, charity from ruin, offers redemption's grace. Karen's greed scarred, but Eric mended. For us, it's a nod. Past stumbles don't lock us. We've faltered, words sharp, chances missed, but Twilight's fluid teach a grandkid fairness, right a neighbor's wrong. Our scars don't bind, they guide, a late bloom of good from old soil. Finally, Ethan's bricks, kept, shared, whisper, legacy over loss. Karen's mall never rose. His drive birthed a symbol, Willow Bend's spine, a vet's peace. We ponder what lasts, photos fade, strength wanes, but this says, hold what matters, give where it counts, tend your garden, your tale, your bricks laid with love endure beyond you. We've weathered storms, health dips, power grabs, our resilience a quiet forge. Stand, old friend, your drive, your days can still pave paths. Proof age builds, not breaks, when rooted in heart.